Welcome back to the snow in Denver's Mile High Stadium. The temperature, we're chasing it down to make it official. The wind chill factor was 7 degrees below zero at kickoff, and Denver out in front by a score of 14-0. And I finally had to go to the cap. It's just getting too cold. It really is cold.
Yeah, it is really cold this afternoon. It's an unusual game. Snow games always are. Running attacks are the important order of the day. And so far, it seems that the Denver Broncos have gotten the breaks this afternoon and also have done some things. They deserve this 14-0 lead. For example, the punt return by Casey Clark. And also, they've been able to control the game with field position, it seems. San Diego's not been as fortunate. They've gotten the good punts by Majenko, but he's outkicked his coverage on occasion, and that's the reason for the return by Casey Clark.
Denver had the one scoring drive, and that, of course, is Sammy Winder went in from a yard out at the end of that. It wasn't that long, around 38, 39 yards. And Casey Clark with the 71-yard punt return, and that was the first score of the ball game, and in reality set the tone as to who would control the ball game.
Yeah, it did, and you saw the numbers on John Elway, just 30 yards passing. You might think that was the least amount of yards he's had passing in a half. Well, it wasn't. Earlier this year at Buffalo, he had just 10 yards for one half. And in 1983, he had just 10 yards per half. Here is the return by Casey Clark. You can see it is like playing ping pong out there, sliding and slipping along. Speed has nothing to do with this contest at all. It's just a matter of who can keep their feet or not. He gets a couple of key blocks, one from Bodie, number 24, and then downfield from Lilly, number 22.
An advantage you always see in this kind of situation to the offense because they know where they're going and the defense has to react. But is there an advantage to a wide receiver or to a running back who can run flat-footed or run on their heels and has more balance than the cutter slasher type runner?
Well, it's like a horse. It's a mutter. You're a mutter. Yeah, a snorer in these conditions. Obviously, Casey Clark knows how to play in these kind of conditions. There's a look at the current conditions out there thus far. Minus 23 is the wind chill.
No wonder I had to put the cap on. Minus 23. And the temperature 17 degrees.
And we still have, you know, to the credit of the fans here at Mile High Stadium, they are here.
Yes.
And they can watch this game locally. The blackout had been lifted, but they are in the stands. And as Charlie, as you mentioned earlier, some are still, and there are assigned seats.
Yeah, they're assigned seats. And I think that's just
and some are all the way in the top deck. Oh, no.
Oh, no. That's strange. He left it all at the North Pole, I can tell you that. There's no question about that.
And he had a Bronco tattoo on the one arm.
That's right. We get ready to start the second half, and this kickoff is sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers, and Rich Carlos is going to kick off. And that's Jamie Holland, who is the deep back on the return. And we are underway in blizzard conditions. From the 10-yard line, here's Holland, takes the reverse to Anderson, slips the tackle. Pretty good return. And San Diego will start the second half on offense.
Sure. Here's a look at the first half statistics. As we mentioned, John Elway net with 27 yards passing on the afternoon, a very low output, but the conditions have everything to do with that. The big key there is turnovers. 2 on the part of the Chargers, and the Broncos have played perfect football offensively, keeping the ball in the hands of their own people, given the slip-sliding conditions of this field.
Pair of interceptions by Denver. Jim Ryan got the first one, and Mike Harden got the second one. 7 of 13 for 86 yards. Not that bad for Mark Herman. Fumbled it. Ball is still loose. San Diego has it. Herman almost made a crucial error, and that is he tried to pick it up. And in these conditions, once it gets on the ground, you've got to cover it.
Yeah, it's just a snap from center. He's unable to get a hold of it, but you're right. There he tries to pick it up. Just grab onto it. Jim Ryan, number 50, jumping in, nearly coming up with the football.
Second down and 15. The ball back on the 26-yard line. Chargers scored only 25 third-quarter points this season. Herman to throw. Good protection. Pass is complete.
Quite a
Kellen
catch.
Winslow,
Yeah.
yes, had to wait till he got up. Couldn't tell who it was.
This week, Kellen Winslow named to the Pro Bowl for the AFC as the starting tight end. What a great story. 1984, there was no better tight end in football, maybe no better tight end that had ever played the game. Yet the tremendous knee injury that Kellen Winslow underwent, people questioned his desire to come back and play, but he fought through all the pain, all of the criticism, and it culminated by him being named as the AFC starting tight end once again. Quite an accomplishment.
Third down from the shotgun, the four-man rush by Denver, and the pass is incomplete. Lionel James, the intended receiver. There were double coverage thrown up by the Denver Broncos, and Ralph Mojico will come in to get. Did you get the time on that? I had an 8.7 seconds.
The bobsled is doing very well here.
Oh. Ralph Mojico, a 44.6-yard average, and a touchdown-scoring Casey Clark. Rookie free agent from San Jose State. Of course, the 71-yard return, his first NFL score. Takes this one on about the third bounce. Has around 6 yards on the return, a 40-yard kick. And Denver will move on offense for the first time in the second half, leading 14-0. The Bears and the Raiders in the third quarter at the Coliseum in Los Angeles remain tied at 3-3. And a reminder to our viewers that we'll be selecting the Budweiser Most Valuable Player for today's game at the conclusion of the contest. Sammy Winder and Gene Lang, the running backs behind John Elway. Jackson in motion. Lang the ball carrier for a couple. And Chuck Ian makes the tackle. Difference emotionally or mentally for the second half. You know, the first half you come out and it's showing and you warm up and you play the first half. Now you've been in a warm locker room for 15 minutes.
Yeah, I think.
Is it hard to come out?
Yeah, I think sometimes it's a problem coming out. I remember wanting to just, let's play the whole game from start to finish. Don't let me go get warm until after the football game. But yeah, getting warmed up. Usually players will go in, change their jerseys, change the clothing underneath. Hold the uniform, actually come out and be dry for the second half.
From the shotgun, second down and 8. Play action fake by Elway. Jackson knocked away by Patterson.
You got to question why he's up throwing the football under these conditions in a 14-point lead. This contest is very important for Elway and the Broncos. Downfield, he's underthrown just a bit. Mark Jackson had Elvis Patterson beat by a step or two, but the underthrown football allowed Patterson to catch up and knock it away.
And meanwhile, it was Chip Banks who was putting the pressure on John Elway. And it's third down and 8. Elway, first down. Tony Bodie. Was it Bodie or Natil? 12 yards. And it's Ricky Natil.
Elvis Patterson, number 34, has had trouble all season long covering people. Look at the amount of area between Natil and Patterson, 5 or 6 yards. Patterson, again, trying to give as much room as he can because he's got to come up and react. But for most of the season, Patterson, the replacement player for the Chargers, has had his problems covering receivers.
First down Denver at their own 47-yard line. Denver leading 14-0. Just over 11 minutes to go in the third quarter. Here's Gene Lang. Near the 50-yard line where Chuck Ian makes the tackle. A hearty group of fans.
You get the feeling they're having more fun at this Bronco game than they've ever had in their lives.
Either that or they're all doing little jumping jacks to stay warm. Gene Lang rushing last year and this year.
Of course, that had a lot to do with some of the injuries. Steve Sewell out with a broken jaw, and Gerald Woolhide out with a broken leg. This team has been beset by injury.
2nd down and 7 with Mobley in motion. Now he reverses. Winder near the first down, about a yard shy. Billy Ray Smith with a tackle.
Charlie, I wonder whether or not the coaching staff of the Chargers has allowed their team to know whether or not they, in fact, have a shot at the playoffs at all. If I was the coach of the Chargers, I would say, look, forget about the football game. They have no way to find out in the locker room. Don't let them know. They may be thinking out there, we're playing to find out if we're in the playoffs. And I would imagine Al Saunders is going it after in that sense.
And Saunders said, I said at the start of the season, we had a long way to go. And we still do. As you know, the story, they were out with an 8-1 record. Looked like a shoo-in for the playoffs. Have lost 5 in a row. This would be 6 as they trail 14 to nothing. Winder, the ball carrier. I heard a whistle right before the snap. May have been something from the stand. Thomas Benson with the tackle. San Diego had a bit of a problem yesterday just getting here.
Yeah, last night they were delayed. Actually got to their hotel about midnight last night. They circled for quite a while. It seemed for a while they would have to land at Colorado Springs, but the pass from Colorado Springs to Denver on the ground was blocked, and so they circled for a while and got in there safely last night.
But they were still around 7 or 8 hours late from what they scheduled. They planned to leave San Diego around 2:30, and the plane was not there to bring them because it was still in Denver and couldn't leave the airport here. Gene Lang gets the call. And that could be an advantage or a disadvantage. It could be a disadvantage for everybody concerning themselves about it, or it can be an advantage. You might say, it's snowing, and let's just go out and enjoy it and play the best that we can.
Well, this team has gone on a real roller coaster this year. After the 8-1 start, the best record in football, 8 straight wins. Now 5 consecutive losses. And this contest, even though they are to the playoffs, is very important to them because they've got to set a tone for the offseason. And Al Saunders is a very positive, upbeat kind of a coach, but I think he needs this win in order to set that tone for the offseason workouts and for the draft coming up.
And this is the side of his first victory as a head coach last year, 9-3, upset over Denver on November the 9th of 1986.
Vance Johnson unable to hang on to that ball. He's just recovering from a slightly dislocated shoulder. I don't know how slight a dislocated shoulder can be, but he's wearing a harness underneath, actually, and that's going to restrict some of his movement, but they're going to need him for the run during the playoffs. He's been their big play receiver all year with 7 touchdowns.
3rd down and 9.
Steve Watson is down here raising his hand. Nobody is covering him. He's all by himself.
Yeah. And here comes a blitz and the first sack of the ball game, and this was Daniel Hunter who got the sack. What happened with Steve Watson wide to the near side at the bottom of the screen was all alone.
He was all by himself. He raised his hand. I think Elway saw him. The Chargers finally did recover and get somebody over there, but he was unable to get the football. They had the safety blitz on the part of Daniel Hunter, number 27. Receivers are told if that ever happens, just put your hand up in the air and run down the field. Hope the quarterback will see you.
Mike Horan will be kicking to either Lionel James or Gary Anderson. Good kick. James at the 10. Little Trains to the 20. Up 17 yards on the return, a 41-yard kick. We've got a timeout. Denver leads 14-0. Hooray!
Yes, we do.
Happy holidays, everybody. It's a white 2 days after Christmas. Home sweet home advantage, yes. That's the Amigo for the Three Amigos.
Three Amigos have sold 33,000 posters in 3 weeks.
They, of course, the wide receivers for the Denver Broncos. Here's San Diego. Curtis Adams gets the call. And the Denver defense is there, as it has been throughout most of the year, this time led by Ricky Hunley. By the way, a special thanks to all of our camera persons that are working. If you think that these are difficult conditions, you should be with us on the 3rd week of January when they'll all be working in Palm Springs at the Bob Hope Classic. Now, that's really a tough assignment. Second down and 9 at the 27-yard line. Just over 7 minutes left to go. Third quarter. Spencer. Chargers have had field position only one time. Were able to put together one drive. Still tied in the third quarter. Chicago and the Raiders at 3-3. And a field goal attempt was no good by Vince Abbott. And the rest of the game has been completely dominated by Denver, and it all started with that 71-yard punt return by K.C. Clark right at the end. The Broncos won the toss, elected to kick off, held the Chargers, the punt, the return for the score. They kicked off again, and then Denver put together a short drive of under 40 yards for the second score with Winder going in from a yard out. That's been all the score. And not a lot of threat. This is Jim Ryan with the pressure. Pass complete to Anderson. And it will be close to the first down, and maybe a little short of it.
Freddie Gilbert, that's Jim Ryan, number 50, going in with the pressure. Now, take a look at the fumbler. He may have actually fumbled for the first down. It goes out of bounds forward just a yard. Now he's going to be just shy of it. It seemed the ball went out of bounds about a yard shy of the first down marker.
So Ralph Mojico will be kicking. Pretty good average under these conditions. Another good kick. Clark from about the 17-yard line. He's to the 20, to the 30, and then bumped out of bounds. 44-yard punt, a 15-yard return. We've got a timeout, and Denver has the ball. And we know you're going to be hearing a lot about the best bowl. Well, the Fiesta Bowl is the best bowl. Jimmy and I are doing that one. That is if we can get there.
That's right. I was scheduled to go tonight to Phoenix, and we're canceled because the airport here at Stapleton is closed until at least tomorrow morning, and so we'll try to get out.
And on Tuesday night, we're going to co-host the big ball, if we can get there all right Tuesday night. Hopefully that we'll be there. And if not, go ahead with it, and we'll get there as soon as we can. That should be a great game. Really looking forward to that one. This is my 9th year at the Fiesta Bowl. Elway rolling to his right. Going back, pass is caught by Orson Mobley. 50-yard line. Gil Byrd at the coverage, 16 yards and a first down.
What happens is that when Elway rolls out of the pocket, the defense has a tendency to move as fastly as they can with him because of his great scrambling ability, and they leave Mobley inside all alone. The zone coverage just continued to move down the line with Elway, and Mobley stayed perfectly stationary and came up with a big catch.
It takes all kinds to venture out in this weather. Elway. Incomplete to Mike Jackson. All of a sudden, I have a feeling that Denver has said the thing that we do best is Elway throws the ball. So let's go throw the ball for a while.
Well, I think you've got to throw the ball somewhat under these conditions because you've got to go out and they may have to do it during the playoffs. That's one of the reasons they may be trying to do it. But you don't need a constant diet of it. They've gotten rid of the shotgun formation, which is a smart move because of the difficulty with the snap. But they've been throwing the football quite often. 16 passes under these conditions is quite a number.
And again, if Denver wins, they have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. You wonder what kind of advantage that is in this kind of weather, but it still is. Winder carries, no gain, and you could say, of course, it should be an advantage for Denver. They practice in this weather. They don't practice in this weather. They have a big bubble. They go inside. It's nice and warm. Chip Banks with that last tackle. The Broncos have won 33 of the last 39 home games here at Mile High Stadium, and that is it. That's home field advantage. Third down and 10. The ball at the 50-yard line. 4:39 and counting time remaining. We're in the third quarter, and Denver leads at 14-0. No scoring in the second half. Elway, it's in the air. It is intercepted. It is Billy Ray Smith. And the Chargers take over on the interception at about the 47-yard line of Denver. Billy Ray Smith, second alternate to the Pro Bowl. and having by far his best year.
Elway throws into some coverage here. Mark Jackson and Steve Watson are on the left side of the field, and they're very close to one another. But watch how many Chargers are on that side of the field. Vincey Glenn, number 25, knocks it into the air, and that is Billy Ray Smith with the intelligent move coming over and getting the big interception for the San Diego Chargers. We'll be back in just a minute to Mile High Stadium, cold and wet.
And if you really want to be picky, you could say the Orange Bowl is going to be better than Fiesta Bowl. But that really is. Fiesta Bowl last year, of course, we had the national championship game. This year, it's at the Orange Bowl. What a great lineup on NBC. Fiesta Bowl, Rose Bowl, and the Orange Bowl. Herman swings it off. Kellen Winslow. Winslow just back to the line of scrimmage. Greg Cragen and Mark Haynes make the tackle.
The Chargers took Gary Anderson and put him in the backfield, then shifted him out to the far left side of the formation. As we take a look at that Chicago Raider game, still tied at 3 apiece. One of the problems the Charger offense has had is that Gary Anderson is the only speed receiver they've gotten. They have no deep speed on the offensive side, and they try to shift him to different spots to make the defense react. That time didn't work.
Perhaps the emergence of Jamie Holland can help solve that problem. Here's the blitz from the backside, and it's Mecklenburg. Denver's first sack. They're saying they have the ball. Now, this is not in the purview of the replay officials. A fumble that is caused by contact. And it will just go as a sack. And in case you were wondering, earlier in the first half, we'll go back to it here.
James Fitzpatrick, number 70. Watch this. He comes around. He does not get back quick enough in order to get Mecklenburg. Mecklenburg hardly touched by Fitzpatrick, who was faking with the play action, then turning around to try to secure the backside.
Third down and 20. Incomplete. Lionel James could not pull it down. Jeremiah Castile had the cover. We had a play in the first half that you discussed with the replay officials at halftime, and the long slide down around the 10-yard line to the right on the right side.
Right,
of the
Jamie
field.
Holland caught a football and slid along the turf and fumbled the ball. No one touched him, and so it does come under the preview of the replay official. However, the whistle had blown, and so the officials in the booth were not able to correct that mistake.
Mojico kicking to Casey Clark. Another good kick. Clark at about the 7-yard line. Dodges one. Has a block. Nice return of 9 yards after a 51-yard kick. We've got a timeout, and Denver has the lead, 14-0. See, it's not always that. This is Jim Bragg. Wave your friend, Jim. Jim's inside the scoreboard, and little beknownst, he has a little fire, and he's been roasting marshmallows back in there, staying warm. Meanwhile, in other locations, the handheld on the sideline can get very difficult. Sammy Winder is the remaining back at the 22-yard line. Winder, the ball carrier. You've been watching the wide receivers of the Denver Broncos as Les Miller makes the last tackle. That when they go out wide, if they keep their hands in the pockets of the jerseys, it's a running play.
Yeah, it's a little key that might be picked up by the Chargers this afternoon. Sammy Winder, I keep hoping that he scores another touchdown because he does something called the Mississippi Mud Walk. That he looks like he's sliding in mud as a celebration after he scores a touchdown. Here it becomes the Mississippi snow crawl, I guess.
Or the Alpine slide. Time remaining third quarter, 2nd and 7. Jackson going in motion. Elway rolls right. Throws, passes, complete to Clarence Kay. He just plows his way out of that. First down, 21 yards. Elvis Patterson.
And the Broncos,
the defense. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. The Broncos will come back to this play again and again. Vance Johnson, number 82 on the right side, was open. He had man-to-man coverage there. The defensive back did a pretty good job of getting it done, but look at Kay slipping in behind the coverage. Mark Jackson, number 80, being covered up, but it was 82 who you saw slip by just for a second. Vance Johnson, who was open on the corner. I have the feeling that the Broncos will come back to that play at least one more time.
There's Kay's first reception last week, a career high, 6 for 91 yards against Kansas City. Still better conditions than this. Here's Winder. And Sammy has a couple of yards. And again, because of the conditions, Winder last week against Kansas City running on first down was averaging almost 6 yards a carry out of the shotgun.
And he's led this team in rushing the past 6 seasons. He's been a durable kind of a back. And he really picked up a lot of the slack when Gerald Wilhite went out with that broken leg earlier in the season.
90 seconds left in the third quarter. Denver still leading 14-0. All of the scoring coming in the first quarter. 71-yard punt return by Casey Clark. A 38-yard drive in 7 plays with Winder going in from a yard out. Low snap. Little play action fake. Elway can run for it. Did you notice what he did? He didn't just run for it. He put a little fake in, a head fake to the outside, and then he went sliding for the first down. Let's see where they're going to mark it. They may mark it down short of the first down.
This is the same play I mentioned before they were going to come back to. This time they catch his zone coverage, though. And Elway, you're right, put a little fake on and try to slide by Chip Banks for the first down. And apparently,
well, here's the thing.
They're not going to get it.
No, and that's a good call by the officials. And the reason that he doesn't get it is that is a feet-first slide by the quarterback, and that is so he can take himself down and cannot be hurt. So the ball has to be dead at that point. So that's a good call by the official. 3rd down and 2. Winder spinning for the first down. David Brandon, the rookie out of Memphis State, with a tackle.
Chip Banks was injured on this play. There he is coming up. He's the first alternate in the Pro Bowl. Where does... Looks like he just might have turned an ankle as he dives over John Elway. That's him there on the bench with
it. He come down on the knee, just the way that it hit. We've got a timeout. It's the end of the third quarter. The score, Denver 14, San Diego nothing. Back after these messages from your local station. In case you just joined us, the wind chill factor is, are they kidding? Is it 24 below zero? Temperature is 16 degrees. 4 inches of snow have fallen, 3 to 6 more expected. And that's today, followed because overnight in the last... Hello, my dear. May I keep you warm? May I take you out of the snow? Would you come to the fireplace? Let us not ski any longer. It is cold. Matteo coming in motion is Sammy Winder. Hardy group of fans here at Mile High Stadium, though, that have stayed.
Mark Jackson, now he's been suffering from the flu during the week. He was sent home from a practice on Wednesday afternoon. After this contest, Charlie, he's going to be a lot sicker than that, isn't he?
Actually, it'll probably be the best thing in the world. Sometimes when you have a flu or a cold or that type of thing, and you play and you exercise,
go roll around in the snow.
Go roll around in the snow for 3.5 hours.
That's another old wives' story.
Two men moving, first down.
Like cayenne pepper in the shoes.
Cayenne pepper in the shoes. Yes, and he'll be healthy tomorrow.
Chip Banks looks like he's healthy right now, walking around the sidelines. He went out with that injured leg.
No, but they'd send him home from practice in the bubble. Looks like they'd send him home from this. Oh, it's raining too. No, it's snowing. You got to go. First and 15. Jackson in motion. Elway's going to throw.
Same play.
Back over the middle. And it's caught by Mobley. 20 yards. And Elway gunned the ball in these conditions.
A little play action fake. They try to roll it to the right side. He's trying to hit Natil once again along the sideline, but he comes back. Mobley's actually the tight end to the backside of Elway, but he knew he had him coming back there, and you're right. He gunned it downfield.
Mobley limps off just a little. Oh, that's a great pass.
I think some of, the injury to Banks, the injury to Mobley, it seems when they hit the ground, this turf is starting to freeze. As we said earlier, it's heated, but they've got to turn off those heaters before the contest, and it's starting to freeze. That may be some of the bumps and bruises that's coming up now.
And Bobby Mitchell, the H-back, is the wide receiver on the far side. Here comes Winder for about 9 yards. Meanwhile, Mitchell downfield, a little shoving contest with Danny Walters. Well, there's a pretty fan in the snow cheering the Broncos on. Are you having the party after the game tonight at the hotel, or you going to pick up the tab for that, Mr. Cephalon?
Oh, of course.
I can invite all our friends.
I'm going to thaw out first.
That's right. Well, that's going to take a long time, too. Second down and a yard at the 21-yard line. It's over 13 minutes left of the game. Winder. First down. Thomas Benson with the tackle.
Bobby Mitchell, number 46, playing the part of the H-back. Watch him come back in motion and get a block, a double team on 78 Ian. He's working with Freeman, the center. And that's what opened up the hole for Sammy Winder, number 23, to sneak through. It's always tough for a nose tackle in this league because if you're going to run the ball against the 3-4, you've got to be able to block the nose. That's really why the H-back was invented. They can have him come inside and crack back double team on the nose tackle.
Winder, the remaining back. First down. He's been carrying on almost every first down. He does it again. This time the Chargers are waiting. That is Gary Plummer. Wraps him up, and then Chip Banks with an assist is back in the ball game. Maybe a couple of yards. And Plummer is holding his ankle. I think you're right. I think the ground is now frozen. Has an underground heating system like an electric blanket is an easy way to describe it. And of course covered by the tarp. That all rolled back before the game started. As soon as it rolled back, the field immediately covered by snow. The heater turned off, as Jimmy explained. And now it's starting to freeze again because of the temperature. Winder jumps to the outside. Lee Williams finally takes him out. Danny Walters was also there. Today's game is the property of the National Football League, the Denver Broncos, the San Diego Chargers, all rights reserved. And today's telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or the use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Denver Broncos and the National Football League is prohibited. Third down and 3 at the 8-yard line. Bodie is back with Elway in the shotgun. McKeel in motion. Incomplete. Clarence Kay almost.
Let's count the number of times that Clarence Kay had a chance at this football. Makes a nice play going up in traffic. Takes it away once. There's a second time.
Whoops.
Runs into Teal a third time, and there's number 4 just 5 times on the second play.
That's still great concentration. He really stayed with it.
Oh, yeah, it really is.
26-yard field goal attempt by Rich Carlos. Keith Bishop will be snapping, and Gary Kubiak is the holder. Good snap. Good hold. Got it. 26 yards. Denver leads 17-0. This is Charlie Joe's Jimmy Cefalo, Mile High Stadium in Denver with 11 minutes and 10 seconds left to go in the ball game. The Broncos out in front of San Diego by a score of 17-0. As Randy Kirk picks up the kickoff and returns it a few steps. Denver says they have recovered a fumble. Meanwhile, the defensive team is slogging out on the field for Denver. The officials say that San Diego has it. Again, a fumble that is caused by contact is not reviewed by the replay official. Number 94, Randy Kirk, coming out with the ball, though. He was the short return man.
Well, that's the second time he's returned a kick this afternoon for the linebacker. I don't think he'll touch the football that many times in one afternoon again in his career.
Also on the near sideline at about the 25-yard line, Gary Kubiak is warming up. So we may have seen the last of John Elway as the Broncos are out in front 17-0. Mark Herman. Winslow has it for about 5 yards. There's Kubiak loosening up in the snow. As much as he wants to play, you got to want to say, now, in these conditions, thanks a lot.
Well, that's the job of a backup quarterback in the NFL.
Barry Redden. And Steve Wilson makes the tackle.
Now the Chargers going with a hurry-up offense with 10 minutes and 21 seconds left. No need to wait till there's 2-minute warning. They're down by 17 points.
Herman is pressure, slides away from it. Intercepted. Ricky Hundley. Hundley has the score. Dennis McKnight was chasing him, but he couldn't catch him. 51 yards.
You also have to give credit to Greg Cragen on the play. Number 71 was sneaking in to try to grab a hold of Mark Herman on the contest. But Ricky Hundley, as maligned as he's been all season long, they need him through the playoffs. He's been performing better. That's a big plus for the Denver staff and for the fans here. They're going to need him for the playoffs.
And Carlos will attempt the point after. It's got to hurt. It has to hurt. Barefoot in the snow. It is good. 24-0.
A big...
Let's take another look.
That's Greg Cragen, 71, who forces him out. It's just a bad throw on the part of Herman and a great catch on the part of Hundley. Then he does his job. Herman with not a very good effort to try to bring him down. He outruns McKnight to the end zone. Ricky Hundley from Petersburg, Virginia. Now, that high school, that's a $100 fine, by the way, for him throwing the football out. He's from Petersburg, Virginia. That high school has retired 2 numbers. Ricky Hundley's and Moses Malone's. That's the kind of player he is.
Jamie Holland on the return. Oh, it takes all kinds to celebrate the holidays. Bruce Klostrom made the tackle.
Hundley has been a great athlete from his high school days. That's the reason, of course, why he's expected so much of him. But he's played well the last couple of weeks and really has rallied this Bronco defense. They've not played as well as they had in the previous years, especially last season when they won the AFC Championship. But they're performing better, and a lot of that reason is because of Ricky Hundley.
Here's the time remaining in the game. 9:51. Denver leads it 24-0. Tim Spitzer, bit back by Greg Cragen. Not the kind of weather that you can make a comeback in, so it looks as if the Chargers will go from 8-1 to 8-7, losing their last 6 in a row. Meanwhile, the Denver Broncos, in the Super Bowl last year, the division champions with home field advantage, it puts them in the driver's seat to get to back-to-back Super Bowls, which is very difficult to do. Here's Herman. They may have... No, they still 19 seconds on the clock. There was some kind of contact, and the play stopped before the snap. Possibly motion. Yes, it'll be motion by the offense. You know, it's difficult for the officials, too, to slip and slide.
False start offense. Second down.
Fred Wyatt. False start offense. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. And Don Masick, the offensive center, in his 12th year for San Diego. 2nd and 20. Freddie Gilbert with the tackle. Third down and 19. Pass is complete far side to Kellen Winslow. Mark Hayes had the coverage. I told you, Ski Mile High Stadium. It's the new bumper sticker. I saw it yesterday.
Oh, we already had some bobsledding going on earlier.
And Ralph Bajinko will be kicking. Casey Clark, the return man. See, we did try to. There's Casey. '23-yard line to the 30. Out near the 40-yard line. Another good return for Casey Clark of 17 yards. A 40-yard kick. Pete Holohan with the tackle. We've got a timeout, and Denver has the big lead, 24-0. This is Charlie Jones, Jimmy Cephalo at the top of the mountain, ready to make the final shush. It's cold. It is cold. What, 27 below, 0 wind chill factors? That's the last report we had?
Something like that. Gary Kubiak has to be cold. He's now in a quarterback, but he's been on the sidelines for most of the contest.
His last appearance was in Week 8. That was the game against Detroit. His record on the season, he's completed 3 of 3. And he gets to Sammy Winder from the 40-yard line. And Chuck Ian makes the tackle. And so the Denver Broncos, champions in the West, and also home field advantage throughout the playoffs, as long as they remain in the playoffs. And they will have a week off. The wild card will be Seattle at Houston next weekend. And then the divisional championships here. And in 3 weeks, the championship game. Kubiak to Winder. A couple of yards short of the first down. Gary Plummer with the tackle.
And that off week will be very important for Denver. They'll be able to get some of their healthy people back. Steve Sewell, the running back with a broken jaw, practiced this week just a little bit. He may be back in time for their playoff games. Also, Randy Robbins, Dennis Smith. They've suffered some injuries outside, way outside possibly. They may be back. But it'll be a healthier Denver team than there has been on the field for many weeks in the past.
The home sweet home advantage for the Denver Broncos. Winder's the remaining back. Third down. He does not pick up the first down.
He does fumble, though, and San Diego says it hasn't.
And they do have it. So San Diego recovers the fumble. Les Miller comes up with it.
Winder, it seems to just pop out on him right at the very end. Let's take a look at it. He hits the pile real strong. He's got 2 hands all over it. It's tough to tell from that angle exactly when it does come out. Studdard number 70 diving in, though, and Billy Ray Smith and Chip Banks number 56 reacting.
So San Diego has the ball at the Denver 49-yard line, first down, with 6:50 left to go in the ball game, trailing 24-0. Denver has one other shutout to their credit this year. That was against Detroit in Game 8. Herman fires. It is intercepted again. Ricky Hundley has his second interception and his second of the year. And Mark Herman has been intercepted 4 times.
Seems like the snow has covered the jersey of Ricky Hundley. He's not wearing white. Something got to tell the quarterbacks of the San Diego Chargers. Hundley right in direct position. Sorry to believe Herman would try to fit it in there. Nobody open, but Hundley with another good play.
So Denver at the 49-yard line of San Diego. The 45-yard line of San Diego. First down. 6:40 time remaining. Who would have thought if the flag is down, who would have thought at the beginning of this season that Indianapolis would be champions of the East.
69. First down.
That's a frustration foul on Les Miller. And then Houston would be in the playoffs. Cleveland, you felt, would make it. Denver and Seattle. I mean, those were teams that were within everybody's choice.
The helmet coming in.
Yeah.
Number 69 was spearing Les Miller. Yeah, good call by the official.
Yes.
That's a dangerous way to play football for both parties.
Yes.
Both for this person spearing and, of course, the one being hit by that helmet. That's really a weapon right there. You're right about the playoffs, though, Charlie. Indianapolis in the playoffs, who would have thought that? They went 0-13 a year ago before they began to turn things around.
Ron Meyer turned it around.
He certainly did. In one quick year, he goes from 0-13 when he took over the club to the AFC Championship.
Kubiak tipped, incomplete.
And as well, Houston should be credited. Jerry Glanville has done quite a job with that program.
Cleveland back again. Seattle in the playoffs. And Denver in the playoffs. It's a good group. It's going to be a lot of fun the next 3 weeks.
It's going to be. Here's a look at the Broncos season thus far. They got off to a shaky start, actually. Yeah, they had the big win over Seattle to open up. Then they tied Green Bay in week 2. The 3 strike games. You throw those out, actually, although they do count in the standings.
Second down and 10 at the 28-yard line. Just over 6 minutes left. Here's Bell on a sweep to the right side. Now we'll come back and pick up the schedule. Week 9 with Buffalo with the victory. Then the victory over Chicago. And that may have just set up the final run. They defeat the Raiders, San Diego in San Diego, New England. They lose to Seattle in Seattle. Everybody loses to Seattle in Seattle. And right now in week 15.
I think you're right about that Bear game, Charlie. It changed the whole thought process for this Denver team. That's the game they went to the shotgun formation. They tried to get away from the rush of the Chicago Bears. They were very successful with it. And now running out of the shotgun maybe 90% of the time, they've been able to run the football better. John Elway sees the defenses better, and they've been a much better club since beating the Bears.
And the numbers get confusing. Week 15, of course, the last week defeated Kansas City. This is week 16, but only 15 games. Going deep. Incomplete in the end zone. Flag is down. Ricky Natillo, the intended receiver.
Now you really have to question why Denver is throwing the football.
Illegal motion, number 80.
That's against Mark Jackson. Here it is.
Fourth down.
They're up by 24 points. There's 5 minutes and 49 seconds left in the game. They've got home field advantage throughout the playoffs. You don't have to worry about scoring points as a tiebreaker item. I don't understand the thought process of them throwing the football.
Perhaps just to get used to throwing the football in this kind of weather if they have it for one of the home games.
Well, that's one
That's the only thing I can think of.
The only other thing I can think of is they want to show their first opponent in the playoffs as much offense as they can to make them prepare for things. But they've not shown anything unusual. Usually when you do that, you take a strange play and put it in the book so that your defense, the opponent you're playing, has to prepare for that particular play.
Kubiak, the quarterback, over the middle. It is intercepted. Billy Ray Smith has his second interception of the ball game and 5 on the year. Ken Lanier is the man who stopped it for the Denver Broncos.
It also, the other possibility is that they want to get Kubiak some work in case of an injury to Elway. But here again, difficult throwing in these conditions. I mentioned Herman before, throwing into an area where there was no receiver open. Sometimes it's trying to set your feet, and that's a lot of it. The ball is a little slippery out there. Those are all the excuses those quarterbacks will give their offensive coordinators come Tuesday morning.
Denver 24, San Diego nothing. 5:41 left. San Diego with the ball. Mike Vlasic is now the quarterback for San Diego. This is his first appearance. And he bobbles the snap, and he picks it up. And he's got time. He got time to burn. And he unloads deep, and it is incomplete. Whoa. He was going to West Chandler.
I'll tell you something he found out about that young man. He's got quite an arm.
This is the number 4 draft choice from Iowa, 6'3", 206 pounds. He does. He really does. San Diego season.
After losing early on to Kansas City on a kickoff return late in the contest by Paul Palmer. They went on that incredible streak, winning 8 straight, including 3 strike games. But then the slide began to go on for the San Diego Chargers.
It started in after the Raiders game. Raiders 14, San Diego 3. Kellen Winslow.
There's also been some speculation. Charlie, you live in that area. As we take a look at the remaining debacle.
They just kept losing.
They just continued.
There's the 5 in a row. There's the 5 in a row there.
There has been some speculation. You live in the San Diego area.
The score was reversed, I think, in the Raider game. Go ahead.
About the retirement of Dan Fouts. What's the feeling in San Diego? Is he going to retire?
I know Dan's watching. He's warm as toast in his home in Rancho Santa Fe, getting ready to invite me as a guest to play at his club. And he'll be back. The press has written him off. The fans have written him off. And everybody's written Dan Fouts off except the key man, and that's Dan himself. I think he'll be back next year. Classic in grasp and control of Rulon Jones. His first sack of the ballgame. And his 7th of the year.
One of the reasons that Rulon Jones did not make the Pro Bowl this season, that many thought he should have, was because his sacks were down. He just had, as you say, 6 coming into this contest. But Rulon Jones has been playing the run much better the past few weeks. He's always a tough force to deal with, especially when they line up on the same side of the field with Mecklenburg. You can't double-team Rulon Jones or Mecklenburg, and they both deserve double coverage.
Tony Lilly with the return. Pete Holohan was there, a 40-yard kick, a couple of yards on the return. No, I think that Dan will be back. There is one other possibility, and that is the possibility that Dan himself may decide that he wants to retire.
Well, I would think that'd be the only way it would happen.
Oh, yes, it will be, but it's going to be his decision. He's not going to be forced in by the fans or by the media or by any television announcer. He's going to decide, let the rotator cuff heal, go through the off season, see how he feels, what he wants to do. He's such a great competitor and a great leader that that it is a possibility that he won't be back, but a strong possibility that he will be.
It's funny, in reading all of the press clippings that we are sent in preparation for football games, early in the year when we did San Diego games, when they were on that 8-game winning streak, they couldn't say enough good things about Dan Fouts.
That's right, yes.
And now with a 6-game losing streak, now they're talking about his retirement.
Oh, yes, how quickly they forget.
Yes.
Why don't you run through the early scores for us?
Houston, with that win, clinches a spot in the playoffs as the wild cards. Indianapolis 24-6 over Tampa Bay, the Eastern champions. And Seattle losing, they lost an opportunity to win a divisional championship. It was a moot point, however, because Denver winning here this afternoon. The Giants over the Jets. Dallas knocking St. Louis out of the playoffs. But Philadelphia by 10 over Buffalo.
Well done. Well, you do that every morning on NBC News at sunrise.
At 6 a.m.
It's easier in the afternoon than the morning, isn't it?
Sure, I'm awake at this time.
Line carries, a couple more scores, and here's Jim.
New Orleans come back over Green Bay this afternoon. A big win for them because they are in the playoffs, of course, but can win the division championship and get home field throughout the playoffs if San Francisco does lose later this evening to the Rams. And Atlanta looks like they're going to get the first choice in the upcoming draft. They're beaten this afternoon. Chicago up on top of the Raiders 6-3. What an exciting contest as far as great for field goal kickers, huh?
Yes, yes. And what about New Orleans? Who would have thought a year ago that New Orleans would finish their season, have a season like this and be in the playoffs?
Toughest choice there's going to be is who's going to be coach of the year. I think that's the toughest choice all season long.
Intercepted. San Diego has the ball. This is Vincey Glenn with the interception. Stephon Humphreys makes the tackle. I tell you who my coach of the year is.
Okay.
Is Dan Reed, because it's so hard just to get back to the playoffs, and he comes back as a division champion.
Oh, I think you're right. Dan Reeves here has to be the coach of the year because he's had so many injuries through the year, and it's so tough to repeat as a champion. And he had to keep filling people in, and Randy Robbins goes out.
6 starters.
Right. Billy Bryan went out, the center, with a knee injury early in the year. Gerald Woolhite with a broken leg. Steve Sewell, a broken jaw. Dennis Smith has an injury. Randy Robbins, Rick Massey. Yet this man found a way to keep his team up and found a way to win.
Vlasic to Anderson and out of bounds. 2:21 left. What a little excitement here at the end of the ball game. A chance to preview Mark Vlasic, the rookie out of Iowa, taken in the 4th round of the draft. 6'3", 209 pounds. Had a beard earlier in the year. In a way, looked like a Dan Fouts clone early on in the season. Tape in the ear holes. That's to keep the snow out and the wind. That's to make the helmet warmer.
Players will do anything to keep warm in this weather. They wear the pantyhose.
Sure.
They put the cayenne pepper in the shoes.
That's a great one. A scramble in the snow and a pat. Oh, this kid can throw.
It's Bernstein on the, and that's the #1 choice, Bernstein, with the catch. This team had a very good draft last year. Steve Whitmire should be credited, the personnel director of the San Diego Chargers, for bringing a lot of good people into this game.
2 minutes to go in the season for San Diego. 2 minutes to go in this game for the Denver Broncos. The Broncos up 24-0. Well, we have discovered one thing. Mark Vlasic can throw the football.
And he's got quite a strong arm. He really can throw it. Taken in the 4th round. This team really did quite a job with their draft a year ago. Leslie O'Neal. Now, you're from the San Diego area. Leslie O'Neal was on his way to all kind of records as a rookie with the Chargers a year ago. Hurt his knee, out for the entire season. What's the thought about him next season?
I think the prognosis is that he will have the same kind of recovery as Kellen Winslow. He's worked very hard at it, and everybody is very anxious. Thank you, Bronco fans. Give yourself a big hand. Way to go. But I think that San Diego is a team in transition. I think it's a team that needs a lot of help.
Yeah, they really do need a lot of help. They've changed their whole philosophy, though. With Al Saunders, they've gone from a team that liked to throw the football under Don Coryell to a team that believes that if you run the ball and play good defense, you can win some championships. And they've started that conversion.
Look at the blitz. They sent everybody. That was a real welcome to the National Football League.
It really is. Tony Lilly, number 22, coming in. Roland Jones is on his way, but it's Lilly, really, that knocks Vlasic down. But he'll remember this, you know.
And Jim Ryan was coming. They were sitting everybody.
He'll remember this. The time I was sacked in the snowstorm.
Oh, yeah.
By Lehigh Stadium.
And we'll remember talking about it. Yeah. And Denver, what Denver needs to get some people healthy. And possibly a big running back, a big fullback type.
There's some question, Charlie, whether or not a great running back can play in the same backfield with a great quarterback.
Oh, there's a pass. Oh, tipped and intercepted. It's Harden with his second interception of the ball game. Harden returns to the 30-yard line. Steve Wilson tipped it. Wes Chandler made the tackle. And now a fight is breaking out. And flags are flying. Somebody decked Mark Hayes. Somebody came across the deck, Mark Hayes, just with a big shoulder block. That's the flag. Was it Bernstein? It was Rob Bernstein. He'll be ejected for that. That must have been something simmering throughout the day.
Personal foul, number 82, ejected from the game. First down.
He figured with 1:36 left in the season, it's my last chance to get a shot at it.
Well, that punctuates his rookie year, doesn't it? What a run on the part of Harden, though. Take a look at this. I mean, he's having fun in the snow. You know, when you were a kid and you caught the football in the snow and you say, well, I'll go up to the blue Chevy and down around to the school bus and over to the telephone pole. And, well, all right, it's time. I'll fall down. That's exactly what Harden does. Now, here's a look at Bernstein coming in and taking the hit. Well, no, there he is on the sideline. Al Saunders over talking to him.
And we have 1:36 left. And the report card. Elway 7 of 20, 98 yards and interception. breaks his string. He had 9 games with a touchdown. Winder rushes for 70 yards in the snow. The 71-yard punt return for the touchdown by Clark. Hundley with 2 interceptions and 1 for the touchdown. And Harden with a pair of interceptions. Bell and Lang are the running back. And it continues to snow. Herman, 13 of 23, 121 yards, 4 interceptions. Winslow, he caps his year going to the Pro Bowl, 6 for 44. Billy Ray Smith with a pair of interceptions.
This is also the kind of a game, you know, where the Broncos clinched the AFC West Championship. There may have been, 20,000 fans here. Over the coming years, if they go on and win a Super Bowl or a championship, this stadium will have been filled to the brim.
Oh, yes.
There will have been 200,000 people that saw them, who withstood all of the snow and the conditions here at Mile High.
Wind chill factor dropping down to almost 30 degrees, minus 30 degrees. Oh, yes, the stadium would have been full. Would have been filled. Ken Bell carries. Joe Phillips. Both teams with 3 timeouts remaining.
We're talking about that running back in the backfield. You know, when the draft comes off, if a great running back were available for the Broncos, you got to wonder. Sometimes, if you got the great quarterback, you need a good running back. A great running back, sometimes you have that friction between the two. Not that Dan Reeves and John Elway couldn't find to use a great running back in this offense.
Maybe the big, solid fullback. It's an excellent blocker. The celebration has started. The Denver Broncos, champions of the West. Home field advantage throughout the playoffs. The final, Denver 24, San Diego nothing. The Chargers lose their last 6 in a row. Congratulations all around in the snow in Denver, where it's cold.